Welcome to Vancouver Graveyard. Today we're visiting 3 local cemeteries to remember and celebrate some remarkable heroes. Before we get to our first cemetery though, we're visiting the green pastures of Stanley Park. Adjacent to Ferguson Point is the only legitimate grave in Stanley Park since Vancouver was incorporated in 1886. It's the final resting place of Pauline Johnson. Pauline was a North American superstar around 1890 to 1910. She toured the continent with dramatic readings of her poetry that highlighted her dual ancestry of European and Indigenous North American. Pauline has had several schools across Canada named after her, including one in West Vancouver. Pauline visited Stanley Park frequently and wrote about it in many of her poems. She was such a huge star that her request to be interred here was approved. Pauline lost her battle with cancer in 1913 at the age of 51. An inscription here says, "In memory of one whose life and writings were an uplift and a blessing to our nation." Our first cemetery today is the beautiful Ocean View Burial Park in Burnaby. We're starting inside the mausoleum to visit Michael Cuccione. Michael, who was born here in Burnaby, was a multi-talented performer. He bravely fought cancer and he initiated his own foundation at age 11 with money he raised selling his own music CD. The Michael Cuccione Foundation continues to raise money for cancer research. Michael is perhaps best known for playing Jason Q.T. McKnight in the fictional boy band Together.
And take me straight to second base. I know my calculus. It says you plus me equals up.
Michael was so inspirational that everyone from Wayne Gretzky to the Pope wanted to meet him. Michael died of respiratory failure in 2001. He was 16 years old. Hollywood celebrity David Hasselhoff gave the eulogy at St. Helens Church in Burnaby. A large procession of limousines and fire trucks accompanied Michael's casket to his final resting spot here. Nearby the mausoleum is where we find Tommy Burns. Born Noah Brousseau, Tommy is perhaps the greatest and most successful Canadian-born boxer of all time. Nicknamed the Little Giant, Tommy was 5 feet 7 inches tall, but that didn't stop him from becoming heavyweight champ of the world in 1906. To this day, he is the shortest fighter to ever win the heavyweight title. Tommy was unbeaten in 13 title defenses and won 11 by knockout. Tommy's reign as heavyweight champ ended after nearly 3 years with a loss to the legendary Jack Johnson. While visiting Vancouver a year later, Jack said Tommy deserved credit for being the first white heavyweight willing to give a black fighter a chance. Tommy is the only champion in history to score 8 straight knockouts in title defenses. He is a member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. While visiting Vancouver in 1955, Tommy suffered a fatal heart attack. He was 73. Our next stop is the final resting place of Juliette Sysak Cavazzi. Juliette was a singer known across Canada by her nickname, Our Pet Juliette. When she was 13 years old, she was discovered performing here at the historic Kitsilano Showboat, an outdoor community stage. She began singing with local legend Dal Richards and her career took off. Her radio performances earned her lucrative offers from America, but she preferred to stay and sing in Canada.
And now, here's your pet, Juliette.
From 1956 to 1966, Juliette had her own national TV show. Fans loved her dramatic entrances, glitzy gowns, and wholesome persona. She always ended her shows by saying goodnight to her mother in Vancouver. Juliette lived to be 91 years old, passing away in 2017. She is interred here in Ocean View beside her husband Tony. Our last stop at Ocean View is a special place for those of us who love Jimi Hendrix music. We share profound appreciation for this man, Ross Hendrix. Ross is Jimmy's paternal grandfather. Ross had a job as a stagehand for a touring vaudeville group in America. He married a performer named Zenora, and the couple moved to Vancouver in 1911. This is their first house in Vancouver on Pender Street. They started a family and named one of their sons Al. Al would eventually move to Seattle, where he got married and begat Jimmy, who many say was the greatest guitar player of all time. Ross was 67 in 1934 and working as a porter at Cuccione Golf Course when he passed away from a ruptured aorta. It was 8 years before Jimmy was born. Ross's incredible wife and talented grandson are celebrated with this great mural on Cordova Street. Jimmy visited his grandma Nora in Vancouver frequently, and I like to think that she brought him right here to honor and remember Ross. Our second Burnaby cemetery today is the immaculate Forest Lawn Memorial Park. Some say it's bad luck to whistle in a cemetery, but if you do it here, you'll be honoring a very remarkable man. Bernie Smith is perhaps better known by his nickname, Whistling Smith. Bernie was a sergeant with the Vancouver Police for 34 years. He whistled as he patrolled his beloved beat on Hastings Street in the downtown East Side. Bernie counseled and talked with people about the dangers of drugs instead of arresting them. Bernie's unique approach was enhanced by his distinct aesthetic. His uniform was immaculate, he had a handlebar mustache, and his cap was pulled down low. Some movie producers recognized his charisma, and in 1975, their short documentary film, Whistling Smith, was nominated for an Academy Award.
No, not really. I'm just visiting.
Oh, you are? Just in your holidays, like?
Yeah, more or less.
How are you subsisting? How are you living while you're out here?
With friends.
Oh, that's a real good deal. And you too?
Yeah.
Okay, fellas, have fun and we'll see you later, eh? Keep out of trouble, though, eh?
Okay.
Right, bye, bye.
How you doing?
Fine, how are you?
Good.
You looking well? Going in for cold beer, are you?
Bernie passed away in 2012 at the age of 89. As much as he loved his job, Bernie loved his large family even more. He was married to beautiful Mary for 64 years, and they are joined together for eternity. Our last stop today is the tranquil Port Coquitlam Cemetery. This is where we find the remarkable Clara Jacobs, who went by the nickname Babe. With her husband Carl, Babe did something very secretive and amazing in the forest beside the cemetery from the 1940s to the 60s. Carl was a Hollywood stuntman and Babe a film star when they bought remote property here and built a rustic retreat called Oxbow Ranch. They invited their celebrity buddies to their secret place. Locals started spotting expensive cars with chauffeurs heading up into the woods, but the stars traveled incognito and nobody caught a glimpse of them. A-listers like Carol Lombard, Roy Rogers, Kim Novak, and John Wayne loved the fishing, tennis, dancing, and homemade booze. Carl passed away in 1965, and Babe sold the property, which has since been developed. Today, the street names reveal some of Oxbow's famous visitors. Beside Oxbow Way is Gable Drive, named for Clark Gable, Flynn Crescent for Errol Flynn, and Elizabeth Drive for Elizabeth Taylor. Babe never forgot the glory of hosting Hollywood's elite. She passed away in 1995 at 89. And finally, this is the grave of perhaps Canada's greatest hero, Terry Fox. In 1977, Terry was an athletic local teenager when he lost his leg to cancer. He was so impacted by the suffering of other children in the hospital that he decided to run across Canada on his new prosthetic leg in the hopes of raising research money to help future patients. He started in Newfoundland in April 1980 and ran a marathon every day until September. He was halfway across the country when cancer cut him down and he was forced to stop. He passed away at the age of 22. Terry is honored by several statues, including this one at Terry Fox Secondary School in Port Coquitlam. Terry is interred between his dad Roland and his loving mom Betty. both of whom have a picture of Terry on their memorial stone. Soon, the Terry Fox Foundation will have raised $1 billion for cancer research. It's an honor to visit Terry's final resting place. His legacy is everlasting, and he will never be forgotten. And that concludes part 1 of our tour. I'm curious, if we could somehow have a dinner party with the people we visited today, who would you want to sit beside? Be sure to look for further editions of Vancouver Graveyard. We'll be visiting the graves of more heroes and even some notorious villains. If there is a particular grave you'd like to see, please add a comment below. Hope you enjoyed this little taste of old Vancouver as she once was. Please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Until next time, as my late grandpa used to say, be good to the other.